Hello folks, hope you're all doing well. We are here in the Polytunnel today because it's that time of year where it's just about coming to the end of the season in here, I'm afraid. Let's have just a very quick look at the reach down here. And we've got the little temperature gauge here that lives in the Polytunnel. Hopefully you can see it there. At the moment it's 26 degrees, which is lovely. It's very nice. It's quite sunny outside. But overnight it was down to 6.1 degrees, which isn't great for the crops in here. I mean, once it starts getting below 10 degrees, things get a little bit dodgy. So we've got loads of stuff to harvest. Let me just spin you around and give you a quick sort of look around. So we've got loads and loads and loads of these tomatoes here. These are the large barred bore ones. Some of them, you know, there's a bit of damage up here where they've split, probably due to my dodgy watering. But that's fine. The vast majority of these are going to be taken home and made into a sort of tomato sauce for pastas, chilies and whatnot. We've got the last of the sun gold. They are absolutely beautiful for salads and so on and so forth. What else have we got? Let's have a look around here and down here. These are the peppers. So these are the sweet peppers. These are King of the North, and they have ripened absolutely beautifully. They look wonderful. So we'll be getting those harvested. The chili plants at the back there are looking a bit sad. You can see they're going very pale. So they'll be getting stripped out, I think. And as we have a spin background here, one of the other jobs you can see I've been doing is I'm trying to trim off pretty much all of the foliage from these tomato plants, because I want the plant to put all its energy into any of these sort of little greeny ones that are left, and we'll get the sun on them, so we'll get all the foliage out of the way, and hopefully they'll ripen before the end of the season, before it gets too cold and it kills them off. And any little ones as well, hopefully they'll sort of keep growing at this time of year with a bit of luck, but we'll see. But that's the aim anyway. There's still quite a lot of foliage at the back of the tunnel there, but it's difficult to get to till I get all these ones cleared out from the front. So where should I begin? Right, what I'll do is I'm gonna whip round. I'm gonna try and harvest as much of this. I'll show you what I've got. I don't think I've got enough baskets for it today. I don't think the basket's big enough to put them all in. I'll show you what it's got, how it's looking, and I'll talk to you about some of the plans that are going to be coming up in here. Back with you in just a jiffy. And we're back. So let's just have a quick look about and see how the harvest is going so far. Let me just spin you around a second there, and I'll just go down at my honkers and try not to fall over at the same time. So this is the basket here that I'm putting all the tomatoes in, and in here these are all the sun gold ones. So there's a decent amount in there, and a lot of them are very ripe. You know, I've been away for a few days with work, and I just came back yesterday. I've been down in London actually, and I tell you what, speaking of the temperatures, it's about, I don't know, about 15 degrees or something up here today, and a bit warmer in the tunnel, but it was about 25 degrees down there in London. And the underground, I don't know how people do that every day. It was horrendous. It was so hot and humid and awful, and I'm so glad to be back up north in the little bit of countryside that I've got here to look after my bits and pieces. It's absolutely fabulous. Just what the doctor ordered. Anyway, back to the tomatoes. So yeah, so we've got the sun golds in here, looking good. I'll probably freeze them whole and use them in salads and things as and when I need them, because I say they're very, very ripe. Same with the large barred bore. They're over here. Now this basket, maybe the camera's not doing it justice, but this weighs an absolute ton. There's loads of tomatoes in here. The large barred bore, there's loads, and you can see here again. I mentioned before, there's a bit of damage on some of them where they've been rubbing on the vines, or they've split because of the watering or whatever. But because I'm going to turn all of that pretty much into the sort of base tomato sauce that I did a video about it the last time out, I'll pop a little link up the top there for you to see that it doesn't matter what they look like. They're going to get chopped up and made into sauce. These ones over here, the Crimson Crush, again, there's still plenty of them. It's your bog standard red tomato, and they've come out pretty great. So again, they'll probably go in with them. Tomato sauce, maybe something a bit different with these because they're in pretty good condition. Moving over here to the peppers. These ones here, I mentioned, are the King of the North. They've ripened up really, really well. They're looking lovely. Some of them are a really, really good size. Again, I don't know if the camera's doing them justice. This is a good example of how a pepper ripens. So it's it's usually that green colour, then it goes a really dark green, almost black sort of colour, and then it goes red. But you can see there is a couple of green ones knocking about in there, and I've mentioned before that pepper plants are pretty delicate. They're very easy to snap, and every now and again you get big sausage fingers that cause some collateral damage in the snap. But not to worry, we'll use the green ones just the same as we use the red ones. Get chopped up and chucked in all sorts of different stuff. There's a couple of other things I wanted to show you. I think that's going to be about it for the bulk of tomatoes, because I say that's getting really, really heavy. But I just wanted to show you a couple of other things whilst we were here. And first of all, where we're going to go, let me show you this. I've not picked it yet, I've not harvested yet. But how amazing does that look? I think that looks absolutely fabulous. The tomatoes on the vine there, and I'm going to snip that off and I'm going to give that to my mum actually, because it looks lovely. Most of them are ripened. There's a couple down the end there that'll ripen on the vine in the sunshine in the house, and they'll be absolutely fab. So I'm going to cut that off there, and don't tell her that one just fell off though. Whatever you do, don't mention that. Right, let's have a walk down this end again. The other thing I wanted to show you, in one of my other videos a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember which one, I mentioned a couple of things that, one of those things that you say at the time and you probably shouldn't. The first was, there's absolutely no melons on that plant. I'm never going to grow any. And the other was, there's hardly any aubergines there. What are we going to do? Oh, I wanted to make a moussaka and there's nowhere near enough of them. Well, as fate would have it, let's have a look what's going on at this end of the tunnel. I cut back one of the aubergine plants and look what we've got hiding back here. Now the melon plant has pretty much just died now. Let me move that stick out of the way, but we've got two lovely little melons growing there. There they are. So we're going to get those picked and harvested, and we'll see what they're like to eat. And speaking of aubergines, I'm wondering if anybody's got any idea what I can do with tons and tons and tons and tons, and all the way over here, and tons, and let's keep going all the way back here. Loads and loads and loads and loads of aubergines. So there's absolutely piles of them. So I think the tip is there that if you want something to grow, just say it's not grown, and magically loads of them will grow all at once. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that. That's just a bit silly, but I'm going to get them harvested well. I might take a couple today, but I'll probably come back at the weekend and get the bulk of them done and get them sorted. But I think that's it pretty much done for today, actually. One last thing, cucumbers. While we're in the tunnel, while we're muching about the polytunnel, the cucumbers are starting to look a little bit sad. I think there's a bit of powdery mildew about them. That, combined with the colder weather, the cucumbers aren't long for the world, I don't think, but they're still going strong. The common F1s have had a bit of a fourth, maybe fifth lease of life, and there's at least half a dozen decent length cucumbers in there. I mean, all the ones you can see there, they're probably a good 30 centimetres or so, I reckon. And there's some mini munch ones doing the rounds here as well. They need picked. There's one, two, another couple down there. So there's a few down there. But I think life in the tunnel is pretty much coming to a bit of an end as far as the summer crops are concerned. Like I say, the cucumbers are starting to die off there. The tomatoes I'm pretty much working on, you can see here, stripping back all the foliage, and now that I've harvested a lot of these tomatoes from the front, I'll get into the ones that are further back there and get them stripped back as well. And that just gives any of these sort of green ones, like you see up the top here, as much sunshine as they can get to ripen, and all the energy isn't going into the leaves or anything like that from the plant. It's going to go in the tomatoes, in theory, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, and just before I go, there is one last thing. I promise you this is the last thing that I wanted to show you. Let me just spin you around again here. Sometimes we do have some casualties, and not everything is 100% like you might see in the other stuff. So a couple of examples here of things that have gone wrong. This pepper here, I mentioned earlier on that the branches can snap, they're really delicate, and that's what's happened here, and I've missed it, and it's all just gone all wrinkly and soggy and lost all its energy out of it. So that's going to go in the compost bin. Another pepper here, That is all a bit sort of squidgy and wrinkly on that side, but lovely on that side. And what I thought that was slugs and snails and things attacking the peppers, but it turns out we think it's sun scorch. I mentioned it in one of the other videos and somebody left a comment and I can't remember who. If I remember, when I get home, I'll put it in the description so you can go and see their channel or go and see the comment, whoever it was. I can't quite remember who it was, I wish I could, but I think that's absolutely what that was, because that's been on the outside of the tunnel facing that way, and that's been getting full blast with the sun, and that side hasn't. And last but not least, a couple of the tomatoes have got this on the bottom. Don't mistake that for blossom end rot, which it isn't. What it is due to bad watering, inconsistent watering, the tomato has split and then some nasties has gotten there, because it's always so hot and humid in here, and it's gone a bit fusty. Not to worry though, I reckon about 95% of everything done in here has been absolutely smashing this year. So some great successes, but that is now time for me to go. If you'd like to keep up to date with what we're doing here, please consider subscribing. It's completely free. All you have to do is click the button down below, leave us comments, give us a thumbs up. All that good stuff is always appreciated. Right, that's definitely me done for today. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.